on a critical issue, on critical issues that matter to Black people. You know, something as complex as reparations, even though reparations is complex, but it's simple. It's simple, but it's complex, right? You know, would they go find a stripper, rapper slash prostitute to discuss complex issues in any other community? Would they go, if they want to go speak to someone that represents the Jewish community? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Would they go and find a stripper slash rapper slash prostitute to discuss issues for the Jewish community, to represent the Jewish community? I don't think that they would. I don't think that they would. This does not in any way impede on Cardi B's right to be Cardi B. I mean, Cardi B is who she is, you know, and I actually even disagree with some of my friends who think that, you know, who think she's a terrible rapper. I don't think she's a terrible rapper. I think that she's a talented rapper. I just think that, you know, that what she does, I'm not into promoting strippers, you know, to children and hookers to children in a world where Black girls are being sex trafficked on a regular basis. I'm not a fan of sexualizing young Black girls at an early age, which is what music and media does. Music and media studies show, according to most scientists, that music and media plays a part in shaping your culture. So I want you guys to give me a yes or no. Do you feel, give me a yes or no in the chat. Do you feel that Cardi B represents you? Do you feel that Cardi B is an adequate representative for Black people, you know, for the Black community, you know, stuff like that? Give me a yes or no in the chat. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on it. I read the interview, which you can go find. Just type Cardi B and Joe Biden in Elle magazine, and you'll find the interview. It was really interesting. You know, I felt like Cardi did what she could to represent herself well. She asked a lot of questions that I figured she would ask. They were very much, she's not a person that really goes off script and things like this. You know, like I think that they told her what talking points she had to hit, what issues that she was supposed to discuss, and she stuck to those issues. And I give her credit, you know, for presenting herself and her family in a way that was fine. I don't have any issue. Like, I think that if she were representing rappers, she would be a decent representative to a point, right? Even though a lot of rappers don't agree with what she does. If she were representing strippers, she could do a great job. She's a great spokesperson for the stripper community. If she's representing prostitutes, which again, if you go listen to her lyrics, you know, I'm not like a lot of people. I don't really just listen to a song just for the beat. I actually listen to the message. Like, what are you actually saying? So there's plenty of songs where, you know, she will basically say, you know, if you have money, then you can have sex with me, or give your sex to a man who can afford it, who can pay for it, right? And I think that those are very dangerous messages, because you can't disconnect those messages from what is being, you know, done in our community in terms of what's happening to little girls in the community. I mean, little girls are getting kidnapped and raped and murdered and sold into sex slavery. So this is very real, right? You know, when R. Kelly is going through, you know, the middle school playground, picking up little girls, he doesn't have to kidnap anybody. He doesn't have to, throw them in the back of a van and drive off. He finds little girls who have been sexualized early by media, music, by their friends, maybe even by their own family. Some of their own parents are so screwed up that they'll sell their children to an R. Kelly to get a record deal. And then next thing you know, he's off with their child. And then what happens is, and this ends up bothering me, is that we will then turn around and say, you know, look at what you're doing to our Black girls. Look at black men, look at what you're doing to Black. And I'm like, I'm a Black man. I have daughters. I don't do that to Black girls. I don't believe in that. I don't support that on any level. In fact, I speak against it, and I speak against you. It's like if somebody is obese and dying from diabetes and they say, you know, it's your fault because you fed me all this unhealthy food. No, I'm the guy who is there when you are ordering your second Whopper at Burger King, who's saying, what are you doing? You're killing yourself. You're killing yourself. So we kill our little girls with this. We really do. And I think it's crazy that we are ridiculous enough that we support it. But I know why we support it. We support it because we're white supremacists. We support it because we are white supremacists. We are white supremacists because we believe that if a white man is paying somebody money, then that means that they are automatically a successful Black person. That if a person is getting money from white people to rap about terrible things and to encourage terrible behavior under the guise of feminist liberation, that we should support that. And that if you speak against that, then you must be anti-woman. And actually, anti-woman means supporting ideas that lead to sexual assault of women, that lead to sex trafficking of women, that lead to the rape of our young girls that's happening in Black communities all across this country. And so, and a lot of times the reason that it happens is because you've been feeding this little girl these messages since she was 6. So she really has heard Cardi B talk about sucking a man's penis. A 6-year-old shouldn't know a whole lot about that. You know, she's going to school, her friends are talking about it. It's kind of a cool thing. So next thing you know, they're experimenting, things happen. They're hanging out with the older dudes because the older dudes have money. And then Cardi also told them, their mentor, Cardi told them that if a man has money, you should give him what he wants, right? So this is all part of a process, everybody. Like, I just really need you to understand what this overcommitment to these white liberal agendas is doing to your community. It's really debasing your values in terms of who you are. It's debasing respect for the Black woman. So Biden contributes to that. You know, Biden, as your boss, he's the boss of Black people. Apparently, he goes and he does an interview in Elle magazine, and he's speaking with Cardi B. Now, mind you, there's a reason why he will gladly have a conversation with a Cardi B, but will not have a conversation with a Dr. Claude Anderson. You know, a person who really wants to improve the Black community would be a person who would seriously consider, you know, powernomics concepts, because powernomics is all about improving the Black community. I mean, somebody who really wants the Black community to be economically strong would have conversations with people who know how to make the Black community economically strong. A person who truly cares about your interests and wants to have a serious discussion is going to have a serious discussion with serious people. Cardi B is not a serious person in the realm of politics, economic thought, or the ascendance of the Black community. She's not a serious person. She's a cartoon character. She's a rapper. She's there for entertainment. You know, and that's fine. She's very good at that. And, you know, and what I want you to just ask yourself is, do they do this with any other community? Is there any other community out here where they will go to this community? They'll go to the Jewish community. They want to talk about, how do you overcome the Holocaust? Pay attention now. I need y'all to listen. So I'm looking for somebody in the Jewish community to help me understand how to show proper respect to what the Jewish community went through, how we can move forward, how we can support anti-Semitic actions and behaviors. Would they go to a stripper to speak on behalf of the Jewish community? Would they go to a rapper to speak on behalf of the Jewish community? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Would they go to a prostitute to speak on behalf of the Jewish community? Would they find their most ignorant thug that happens to be Jewish to speak on behalf of their community? Yes or no? Give me a yes or no in the chat. No, they would have Dr. So-and-so speaking on behalf of them. They would have Rabbi so-and-so. They would have Alan Dershowitz and his old crooked ass. And he's involved in some stuff with Epstein that's an issue, right? But they would have somebody speaking who can truly represent the interests of the community, somebody who can have a serious discussion on serious policy issues. So the reason that they have people that they bring in the forefront of the public to guide you to vote is because they want to keep the conversation as dumb as possible. You know, there's a reason why a Joe Biden would be afraid to have a conversation with someone like me, because I would hold them accountable. You know, I would hold them accountable the same way people hold, you know, R. Kelly accountable in those documentaries or whatever. I would hold them accountable in a way that says, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to help Black people. You need a real action plan. I would hold them accountable where I would ask the hard questions. Joe Biden, he got a taste of Boyce Watkins in the sense where when Charlemagne talked to him, when he talked to Charlemagne, and you saw what happened with the interview with Charlemagne, you saw Biden did not like that interview. He's not used to his hoes asking questions. He's not used to, you know, Black people standing up and demanding something. He's not used to, you know, he's not used to his bitches getting out of line. So when Charlemagne came at him with those hard questions about reparations, Biden suddenly, he's like, I gotta go. His representatives are like, okay, thank you so much for the interview. It was wonderful. But unfortunately, his schedule won't allow him to stay. Yeah, I get it. Okay, I get it now. When Black people start coming at you with real stuff, you can't have that conversation. You gotta go. You're like, well, why can't we go talk to Cardi B instead, who's gonna play this game with us, right? You know, because I'm gonna tell y'all, you know, Charlemagne and I talked before that interview. And a lot of those questions that were asked were questions that we had discussed in advance. And I said, okay, you ain't going to really talk to a Boyce Watkins. You're not going to talk to a Claude Anderson. And I don't care. I mean, that's fine. It is what it is. I don't need to talk to them. I'd rather talk to you. But I love the fact that I said, okay, you think you're just getting a dumb entertainer, but you're getting the effects of what happens when the so-called dumb entertainers get a taste of true Black power, Black thought, and Black education. Like, you know, when they're running into this more and more. That's why there's even certain celebrities they won't have conversations with anymore. They're not going to. Joe Biden ain't going to talk to Ice Cube. You know, Joe Biden ain't going to talk to Ice Cube because Ice Cube will come at him in a way that is not consistent with what he wants. He wants puppets. He wants people that are going to literally ask questions that are aligned with predictable talking points that allow him to espouse how great of a president he's going to be. You know, I read Cardi B's questions, and it was like they were out of a textbook. They hit every single talking point of the Democratic Party platform for the most part. There's a discussion. She brings up Black people, but she says Black people want fairness. Black people want fairness. If you go read the article, that's what she talks about. She says Black people want to be treated fairly. We don't want to be killed for no reason by the police. Those are Democratic Party Black Lives Matter talking points. You know, fairness. We want fairness. What does that mean? Fair integration does not create fairness, right? Black people want ownership. We don't want fairness. We want ownership. We want power. We want the ability to shape our communities. We want to police our communities. We want to educate our own children. We want to create our own jobs. We want to support Black business. Those white liberal friends that you have, they don't want you to educate your own children. They want you to pay them to educate your children so they can get paid by miseducating your children and or training them to be as white as possible. So they're like, look, we can get you an education, but we got to be the ones who provide it. And you need to pay us your resources to provide it for you. So after we make money off your child in our shitty public schools, we then want you to go to our universities and pay us all your family wealth, give away all your family wealth like some damn sharecroppers, and so that you will be so far in debt that you'll never be able to repay that debt. Does anybody understand? Please give me a yes or no if you understand how simple the blueprint of Black enslavement is and how it's perpetuated throughout the society. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you understand anything that I'm explaining to you right now. I have thought about this 1,000 times and I said, my God, now I know why we become slaves. You know, you ain't nowhere near freedom. A lot of you guys don't even know what freedom looks like. And of course, Cardi spends plenty of time ranting about how terrible Trump is, another Democratic Party talking point. They don't tell you how they're going to help you. They tell you how terrible Trump is. What they're doing is they're triggering Black fear so that they can get your support by default, right? They're triggering you away from Trump so that you'll run into their arms. It's an old tactic. They've always used this. They do this on a regular basis. What else did Cardi talk about? She talked about, you know, how hard it is to be a mom and how there needs to be support for moms. That's, again, another Democratic Party talking point, right? It aligns with feminism, which is fine. No judgment. We should support our moms. We know this. In the Black community, we love our Black mamas. We love Black women. Those of us who got some damn sense love Black women, right? And we know, and our mamas, many of our mamas were the rocks in our households. My grandma, my mother, my sister, my daughter, my fiance, I'd be nothing without them, right? So we get all that, right? But then she talks about, let's see, what else did she bring up? Let me see. I remember Black people, moms, Trump. There's a lot of complaining about Trump in the interview. Let me see. I got it right here in front of me. Hit the thumbs up button, please. If you haven't done it, please hit the thumbs up button. I'm going to read some more questions. Yeah. So she starts off by saying, oh, snap. Is this real? Hi, Biden. How are you? And then he answers the question. I'm not going to read much on his answers. I'm really analyzing her questions. She says, I have a whole list of things I want our next president to do for us. But first, I want Trump out. His mouth gets us in trouble so much. I don't want to be lied to. We're dealing with a pandemic right now, and I just want answers. I want to know when this will be over. I want to go back to my job. She doesn't want to go back to her. She doesn't have a job. She's a famous rapper. But I don't want someone to lie to me and tell me that it's okay not to wear a mask, that everything is going to be better. I want a president to tell me what steps are for us are better. This is why it's taking so long. This is why other countries are doing better than ours. Tell me the truth, the hardcore truth. And also, well, really, if she wants the hardcore truth, she would find that actually it was the Democrats who really actually pushed forth the idea of you losing your job over the crisis. The Democrats have politicized the COVID situation to the point where, if you pay attention, the media does not actually give you specific numbers on the number of people that are actually dying, or they don't tell you that an MIT professor actually said that the odds of dying from COVID on an airplane are 1 in 4,000. That means if there's 4,000 people in a building, one person will die, the other 3,999 will live. So what that means, and this is me just giving you facts. I know some people are so emotional that facts bother them, but I'm just giving you facts and data. You have a 99.999% chance of not dying of COVID, right? So if the reason Alicia and I will leave the house and go get on planes and travel is because we are okay with a 99.999% chance of survival. It doesn't mean that you don't have that 0.0001% chance, or that 1/20th of out of 1/20th of 1% or whatever that's out there. But, there are Black people who go to work every day in neighborhoods where there's literally it may be a 1% chance that maybe you'll be a victim of gun violence that day. There are places like that in Chicago. There are soldiers who go to war where there's sometimes maybe a 10% chance they may not come back, right? So I'm not sitting here saying that this is not real. I'm saying that the Democrats, just if you want my straightforward analysis, they have really grabbed the COVID thing and made it into an industry. CNN has a whole podcast that they make millions of dollars from that's all about COVID. And what they're concerned about now is that the headlines no longer scare people. People are kind of like, yeah, another so many thousands of people caught it, but most of those people don't die. 99% of them, about 98.5% of the people that catch it don't die. And the ones that do die, again, it's about 1 in 4,000, 1 in 3,000, depending on which study you look at. So if she wants the hardcore truth, I'm saying this because Cardi says she wants the hardcore truth. So those who want the hardcore truth should understand that the Democrats have basically got to the point where wealthy Democrats, they have a lot of money in the bank, who are not going to miss their paycheck, who are getting paid, are basically telling poor people who are struggling, don't leave the house, stay home, etc. I bet you this, mark my words, after the election, all this is going to magically vanish. After the election, you won't hear any more talk of it anymore. I guarantee it. Unless Trump wins, then I guess, there'll be something else. But that's what it is. So she says, I also want free Medicare. Again, that's another talking point. Cardi herself doesn't want free Medicare, but maybe she wants it for other people. So I'm not hating on that. It's important to have free healthcare because look at what's happening now. Of course, I think we need free college. Again, she's going down the talking points. Like someone gave her a list of talking points to hit so she could accentuate the Democratic Party platform, right? And I think that's okay. Like she's doing her job, but I think that me doing my job means I have to be the person who tries to bring some intelligence into the conversation. I have to be the person that brings critical analysis into the discussion because that's my job. If her job is to rap and to strip and whatever, my job is to bring critical analysis and sometimes to be the asshole in the room that says, okay, let's go a little deeper into this. Let's really talk about solving the problem. Because if you go back and you look at all the presidential campaigns of the last 40 years, you're going to kind of hear the same conversation. And so Black people kind of get included sort of subtly, but there's never really any sort of significant effort to really actually solve the problem. I'm here to solve the problem. That's what I do. So it says here, she says, I want Black people to stop getting killed and no justice for it. I'm tired of it. I just want laws that are fair to Black citizens, that are fair for cops too. If you kill somebody who doesn't have a weapon on them, you go to jail. You know what? If I kill somebody, I got to go to jail. You got to go to jail too. That's what I want. That's a great point, right? We know what's going on with cops that behave pretty much like a street gang that kind of do the wrong thing. Now, here's why Cardi said this point about I want laws that are fair for Black citizens and that are fair for cops too. This is a very important point. The reason that they told Cardi to say this, this is not just coming off the dome for Cardi. Cardi has a reputation of speaking off the dome, and that's when she went and admitted like she used to drug men and rape them and kill them, or still not kill them, but steal their money or whatever, right? So Cardi wasn't speaking off the dome on this. They knew that they wanted to make sure she was managed in this. The reason she said I want laws that are fair for Black citizens and cops too is because Joe Biden built a big early part of his career on heavily funding the police. In his 1994 crime bill that he wrote, he actually wrote in the bill billions of dollars that would go to hire 100,000 new police officers in America. So when you talk about defunding the police, you're defunding funds that Joe Biden himself push forward with the cops. So with politicians, they have to balance both sides of the equation. So they're trying to get support from black people and support from the police. So that's why she threw in that comment about the police also. I doubt that Cardi B is a big fan of the cops, because if the cops were really on it, they would probably investigate her claim that she used to drug men and rob them and have them raped and stuff like that, right? But that gets a pass. It doesn't get the Bill Cosby treatment, because Bill Cosby, which, by the way, I forgot to mention this, when I talked to Kanye West the other day, Kanye specifically went out of his way to tell me that NBC needs to apologize to Bill Cosby. He said before Nick Cannon, he said Nick Cannon was out here last week and Nick Cannon had to apologize. He said before Nick Cannon apologizes, NBC needs to apologize for what they did to Bill Cosby. He did say that, and I agree with him on that. That's why I listen to him, because I like when people bring things to the table. I don't really care who you are, what party you are, whatever, you know. So let's go back. Let's look at this a little bit. Somebody said you're not educated on COVID. Actually, I study COVID extensively, probably more than you do. So I'm actually overly educated, which is why I'm not capable of being as stupid as they want people to be. So if all your education comes from what you see in media, I can tell you right there that you're missing like 99% of the conversation. I listen to the scientists, the doctors that agree, the doctors that disagree. I talk to my doctor. I talk to my sister who's a doctor. I do research. I've read stuff from medical journals. I've looked at C-SPAN. I've read things online. I checked CDC data, World Health Organization. I want to make sure my family was safe. I wanted to make sure my family was safe, because here's the thing. These people don't care about you. These people do not care about you. So I know they don't care about me. So I don't trust them to tell me if I'm safe or not. When they tell me I'm safe, if I don't feel safe, I'm not participating. When they tell me I'm not safe, if I feel safe, and the data says I'm safe, then I'm not going to listen, because I know how these people move. Okay. Somebody says, do you speak to Kanye? Yeah, I did speak to Kanye this week. So it says, if you kill somebody who doesn't have a weapon on them. So Cardi's basically saying, I want black people to stop getting killed and no justice for it. Okay. So if she's talking about police killings, then absolutely that's an issue. What I really think the Democratic Party misses, and they're not real interested in solving, is all the major reasons black people get killed. If you were to really look at the number of black folks that were killed by cops and compare that to the number of black people who were killed in the hood from just the crazy crime, like in Chicago, those numbers don't even compare. It's not even close. If you look at the number of black people that die from things like heart disease, diabetes, Lizzo diseases. I call them Lizzo diseases because when I actually spoke out against, media companies promoting obesity by using Lizzo as kind of this black mammy Jezebel figure, in public, that white feminists love. White feminists love when black women degrade themselves. White feminists love when black women make themselves look like whores, when they come out there and look like clowns, when they come out there and look like, just unhealthy. Like, so they love Lizzo because, in their mind, they're like, oh, this is great. Here's a big, fat, mammy slut who is going to be proud that she's a slut. She's proud that she's fat. She's proud that she's a mammy. And they love that. They cheer that on because they cheer you for the same reason they cheered you on 100 years ago when you were doing, the minstrel shows in the Cotton Club. They've always loved the black person who made a clown out of themselves because you are society's clown. And so in defense of black women, I had to speak up on that, not to speak against Lizzo. I would love to counsel her and talk to her and maybe help her get some therapy on the issues that lead her to feel like she has to debase herself in that way. But really, I don't talk to Lizzo. I don't talk to the Cardis, or I don't talk to the mumble rappers, the Migos and stuff like that. I'd really rather talk to their record labels. I'd really rather have a conversation that's more on the level of intelligent people, because I don't want to talk to the puppet. I don't want to talk to the puppet. I want to talk to the puppet master. I want to talk to the puppet master because I know the puppet master is the one who's controlling the puppet. You don't talk to the puppet. You don't sit here. If a puppet says, fuck you, you don't go and have an argument with a puppet. Why the hell would I have an argument with a puppet? I'm not a puppet. I'm a free man. I say what I want to say. Why would I argue with a puppet? That doesn't make any sense. I want to talk to the person who's got his arm up the puppet's ass. Like, I need to talk to you because I know where this voice is coming from. So that's what it is. So anyway, let me jump in. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. The Rebel says, Dr. Boyce, I'm going to enter the Black Business School. I lost my job. It's time. Well, go to theblackbusinessschool.com, theblackbusinessschool.com. And since you lost your job, I don't want you to pay anything. Just at least do our free membership. And we're actually going to put together something free for those of you that are having a hard time financially. I do not want money to get in the way for you to get what you need and to also support what is going to become one of the greatest Black educational institutions in the history of this world. We're going to be right there with the HBCUs. We've already made plans to endow this institution with millions of dollars. As soon as everything clears up with COVID, we're going to look into physical locations. We need a university that represents us and represents our people and gives our people what they need. So the Black Business School, we're not the only one out here. There's other stuff out here, but I know how to do this stuff. That's what my PhD's in. Okay. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And also don't forget, we're also building a Black movie industry. So we're doing multiple things. We have Boyce Watkins films. Our films have been seen by millions of people. And so we're doing Black Movie Night on Thursday. That's Thursday at 8 p.m. Black Movie Night. We're going to watch a movie called A Funeral of a Nation. It's a Black-owned film. You got to support your Black filmmakers. Stop asking white people to give you opportunities when you have all the talent in your community. All the great talents of cinema are in your community. We have all the talent. We do all the work. We deserve all the credit as a community. So we're going to elevate our own people, give our own production, distribution, and monetization processes so that we can do what the Jewish community did with Hollywood. We're going to build a Black Hollywood, and it's going to be ours. It's going to be real. So if you'd like to join us for Black Movie Night, Thursday night at 8 p.m., it's totally free. Go to blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. So not .com, it's blackmovienight.net. Please type that in the chat. If somebody could type it in the chat, I'd appreciate it. Blackmovienight.net, not .com, .net. Okay, so let me keep going. So the next question Cardi mentions is, it's so sad that a pandemic had to happen so people could open their eyes and see what type of person they're dealing with. It's really confusing to everyone. One day he's telling them nothing. The next day so again, it's more like Trump complaining, right? So that's another Democratic Party strategy. We're going to complain heavily about Trump. And that way Black people will feel like they have no choice. And also we're going to take this pandemic, which is being, which the goal at the end of the day is, politicians don't really care if they screw you. They just don't. They only care about who gets blamed when you get screwed. So they know you're going to get beaten up and raped, but they're like, well, I didn't beat you up and rape you. He did it, right? And as long as you blame him instead of them, then they're okay with whatever happens to you. So the American public got economically and psychologically raped. The amount of trauma from the response to the pandemic, not the pandemic itself. Very few people actually died from COVID. Very few people died. Very few people. Like most of y'all probably know somebody who knows somebody, or maybe some of you, a very small percentage of you, were unlucky enough to have a direct relative who died from it. But most of the people that you know who died from it was somebody that you know who knows somebody else, right? It's like a double connection. So it got to be at least a couple of degrees of separation most of the time, not all the time. My heart goes out to you if you've been affected. I had someone that I knew who was affected as well. So it affects it hits everybody, right? But what's occurred is, while you might only know somebody who died from COVID, you definitely know somebody who lost their job. You might have lost your job yourself. You've definitely been affected directly in terms of losing income, in terms of losing your livelihood. And what happened was it became this whole conversation that says, well, I'm not going to go risk my life in order to support capitalism. Well, I'm going to just say it like this. I don't go out of the house to risk my life for capitalism, but I'll go out of the house any day of the week to risk my life to take care of my family. And because I know that going outside and living is not risking your life. Again, if there's a 99.999% chance of survival, that's not risking your life. That's all an illusion. That's all something people are making up. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't, do what you're supposed to do, put on your mask, socially distance. I do all that, wash your hands. You can do those things and then go about living your life. And that's what Alicia and I, we're both scholars. She's a full professor of social work. And I've had my PhD for 20 years, almost 18 years. I've had my PhD. So we're smart people. We're not stupid. We analyze things. We absorb data. We know how to do statistical analysis, all that. And our conclusion was to keep our family safe, we're just going to make sure we take basic precautions just in case it's worse than what they tell us. But at the end of the day, the data was not supporting what the media was presenting. The data was not backing what the media was trying to share. The story that was presented in the raw data did not match the story that was given to you in media, because media had an agenda. The agenda is, okay, let's create a crisis and let's get Trump out of office. The reason the Chinese controlled the pandemic is they went to the other extreme. They went to the extreme of just lying. They basically said, we're going to control the virus, but we're not going to tell the public about it. So if you notice, China, in places like Wuhan, where the virus was, it was the epicenter of the virus, and the virus was like out of control in Wuhan, suddenly, just a week or two later, China's like, we have no cases in Wuhan, no new cases. We're fine. Everything's good. So do you really believe, give me a yes or no, do you really believe that China truly controlled the whole virus? Like, do you really believe in your heart of hearts that when China says we had 12 new cases in all of China this week, we have 1.2 billion people, but only 12 of them caught the virus, even though Wuhan was out of control a couple of weeks or a month ago? Do you really believe that they were telling the truth? No, they were not telling the truth. They were not telling the truth. What they were doing was they said, we're going to control this, but we don't want the country to panic. We do not want everything shutting down for everybody everywhere, including healthy people, because everybody's worried about possibly being that 1 in 3,000 that's going to get sick, right? So what they did was they just controlled it underground. They just said, okay, if we find out about it, we're going to go and send our experts and deal with it, but we don't want the whole community to panic. I'm not saying that's the right approach. I'm saying that's the approach they took. The United States took the opposite approach. If one person out of 10,000 caught the virus and got sick, they put it on the front page of every newspaper. Oh my God, you could be next. They made it like, public emergency #1. They're reporting cases, even if the cases had no symptoms and no illness, no hospitalization. They were reporting cases. They weren't reporting deaths. They don't talk about deaths because the number of deaths is just not that high. In a country of 300 million people, 10,000 deaths is a very tiny number. That's like a typical Tuesday for the most part. But they report. They don't tell you about the ages of the people. How many 85 and 90-year-olds were affected who would have died from pretty much anything, right? They present it out there as the big boogeyman to scare the hell out of you. And it's worked. It's really worked. Studies show that fear is the #1 way for media to get your attention. Studies show that fear is the #1 way for politicians to get your vote. Studies show that fear is also the #1 way corporations can actually get your money. So basically they said fear, 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 fear. We need to keep them scared so that scared people will show up and vote for us in the election. And that's what makes me not consistent with them. People like me are a problem because I don't scare easily. I'm a black man. There's a lot of stuff I could be scared of. I just choose not to be afraid, right? So what else? Let me go back and finish up on this Cardi B thing. So she talks about Medicare and free college. Again, another Democratic Party talking point. And this one here is childcare. She talks about, childcare, being a mom, stuff like that, which again, that's a pretty much a feminist talking point. And she says, and I feel like black people, we're not asking for sympathy. We're not asking for charity. We're just asking for equality. Equality is a buzz term. Equality, fairness, and justice. Those are buzz terms that have been used as dog whistles for black people since the civil rights movement and even before. Those are dog whistle terms because equality, fairness, and justice just don't exist in America for black people. And equality, fairness, and justice can not exist in America with an integrated society at the level of the integration that you have. In fact, you don't actually have true integration in terms of a true partnership. You have actual occupation where they pretty much absorbed you into their existing systems. They said, look, we don't want you to own anything, but you can come work for us. We don't want you to have any businesses, but you can come buy from us. We don't want you educating your own kids, but you can send your kids to our schools. And because and as long as your self-esteem lies below a certain level, your self-esteem and eventually your skill set, because they tend to go connected. People who have high self-esteem tend to acquire high skill, but those who have low self-esteem, because they don't believe they can do it, they just say, okay, sure, massa, here, you can take my child. Here, I'll give you all my money. You can put my family in debt until I die so I can go to your college, right? College is not working for black people. It doesn't mean you shouldn't go. It just means that the amount of money that they're putting these students in debt has caused an economic crisis of epic proportions. So when we talk about things like coronavirus affecting black people, we need to talk about the economic virus that they've injected into you, just like syphilis in the Tuskegee experiment. They've injected an economic virus into your community, mainly through things like student loans that have caused your wealth to just deplete itself. Your wealth is dropping because most of y'all in here, raise your hand, give me a yes or no in the chat if you are in this category or know someone in this category. Many of you are the so-called educated black people, talented 10th, that's what we supposedly are, right? Most of us can't even pay our student loans back, which means that you are a non-factor. You are persona non grata in the economic game. So there are people who will say things to you that are completely false. Like, if you don't vote, you don't have a voice. I'm not telling you to vote or not to vote. They'll say, if you want a voice, you got to vote. If you don't vote, you don't have a voice. I'm not saying that that's not true or not true. You can believe whatever you want about that. But what I will say to you, though, is if you ain't got no money, you definitely ain't got no voice. If you ain't got no money in America, your voice is non-existent. You are Helen Keller up in this motherfucker. Seriously, you have no voice at all in America when you have no wealth. When your communities can be taken out from under your feet through gentrification because you don't own a goddamn thing in that neighborhood because A, you never got the resources to buy the block. B, if you had gotten the resources to buy the block, you've been brainwashed to give all your money back to white people anyway. And C, you were never educating your own children to understand the value of ownership because they were being sent to school to be educated by white people who taught them the value of working for other people and serving massa, right? So at the end of the day, like we got a lot of issues that have been caused by the injection of various economic and psychological viruses in our community, not just the economic virus though, it has the psychology, the mind and the wallet end up working together. They end up staying connected. My grandmother taught me this. My grandmother never made more than $22,000 a year, but she never went in debt. She had perfect credit. She owned her house, owned her car, and people that made 4 times more money than my grandmother would come to her to borrow money. You know why my grandmother was in a good, solid financial position, despite the fact that she didn't make any money and was raising 5 kids all by herself with an income that never exceeded $22,000 a year? Is because she said it's all in the mind. She said it's all how you think. If you think like a materialistic spender who gives all their money away, then you always gonna be broke. You could say, well, it's because the white man didn't give me no money. That's why I'm broke. Or it's because my cousin, them, they ain't helping me out. It's because he won't give me a pay raise or a better job. No, it's because your mind is fucked up. It's because your mind is gone. It's because you are like somebody who's had crack cocaine injected in the left arm and heroin injected in the right arm, and you walk around with a crack IV in the left arm and a heroin IV in the right arm, and you getting doped up every single day and you don't even know it. And then when people come along, like people like me, or maybe somebody who's smarter than me, somebody like a Louis Farrakhan, or somebody who like a Dr. Claude Anderson comes along and says, take those damn needles out your arm, you will fight somebody trying to get you off the dope faster than you'll ever fight the dope dealer. You will defend the dope dealer and fight the person who's trying to send your dumb ass to rehab. Seriously, like really, that's what's crazy to me. We are so addicted to the drugs that we will fight to the death to defend the drugs. We will fight to defend white supremacy more than white people fight to defend white supremacy. Even some white people who really figure it out have to fight with black people to help us understand how white supremacy did a number on our head. So if you want to understand why you're broke, you just got to read the breadcrumbs. You got to look at the trail of behavior, the trail of incentives, how they've laid out this whole system for you. This system is beautifully designed to manage and control you from birth. First, we don't really want the strong black male alphas, the leaders, to be born at all. So, you know, we don't want the next Martin Luther King, the next Malcolm X, the next Tupac to even be born. So we're going to put abortion clinics in all the black neighborhoods to make sure that little black girls who don't have enough money, which is pretty much the majority of them, they get pregnant when they're young, like my mother when they're 17, that they just go ahead and kill the baby. And this is all in the name of feminism, all in the name of, you know, protecting your body and your rights, and protecting the baby from being poor. Right. That was the spiel they gave people like my mother, who was 16 years old when she got pregnant with me. And then if your child does happen to live, like, so Boyce Watkins was never supposed to be born. I was supposed to be dead before I was even a fetus. And I was also supposed to be either uneducated, killed, or put in prison by the time I hit adulthood. I certainly was not supposed to be the man that I am now. So I am an anomaly. In their mind, I am a virus. I am something that needs to be exterminated because they don't want a bunch of black people running around thinking and talking like me. So because their system doesn't work when people think the way I do, because I don't fall for that stuff, right? So here's the thing. So if we can't abort the little baby, you know, the little Negro before he's born, then if he is born, what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, make sure that all the black people are kept together in these neighborhoods where, you know, there are no opportunities, right? So the only options for his mother might be to sling a little crack or whatever to make some money a lot of times, right? And then also we're going to have the mother send him to us to educate him to a re-education propaganda camp called a public school. And we're going to spend the whole time not teaching him the things he needs to know, but teaching him how wonderful white people are, and also teaching him how that the best success he can ever have is to come work for a white person. And so we're going to do that for many, many years. So maybe he'll, by a certain age, he'll get a little frustrated. Maybe he'll get into sports and rapping or street life, but he's never really going to try to become a scholar or thinker or somebody who's really going to actually accomplish anything. He's going to be under our control. And even if he does become smart, he'll still be under our control because he'll just be a smart black person working for white people. So then if he is smart enough, if he is one of those kids that gets a proper education where he's been Eurocentrized in a lot of ways, he knows nothing about black history, but he knows everything about white history. He doesn't even know that Marcus Garvey's birthday is today, August 17th, but he does know, Abraham Lincoln's birthday. He does know about the founding fathers. He does know about Europe, right? He knows nothing about Africa, but he knows everything about Europe. He's one of us. He's become an excellent tool for white supremacy, because white supremacy works best when you put a black face on it, because that's how you sneak under the radar, right? And then so he graduates from high school. He's a successful Negro. He thinks he is. And so then you say, well, then now you got to go to college. Now, is he going to go to a university or an institution that's really truly run by black people, where the money is going to go to fund the black community? No, he's going to go to a white university run by white people, teaching more Eurocentric education, and we're going to keep all the money. So he's going to come in here and he's going to sign a document called a student loan paper, and we're going to loan him about $250,000. Now, we won't loan him $20,000 to start a business in his community, but we'll loan him $250,000 to go in debt to get an English literature degree so he can learn how to be whiter and broker than he was before. So he goes to college and he's feeling very successful. He's mighty proud. He's a proud Negro because he's gotten out of the hood, which right there is another trap, right? We've trained him to want to leave the hood as opposed to stay in the hood. We trained him to want to get away from black people as opposed to getting closer to black people. We trained him that his power will exist outside of his community as opposed to other communities who understand their power isn't sticking together. So then he goes to college for 4 years and then he graduates, and we promised him all these wonderful opportunities, all these great degrees, because all the corporations claim that they believe in diversity and fairness and equality, all these other trigger buzzwords that they feed black people that they've been feeding us since the civil rights movement, words that don't really exist in real life, but we're going to keep feeding him the Disneyland fairy tale of freedom, equality, and justice, this stuff that has never happened in this country. And then he's going to go work for a white person. So he thinks that's a win for him when really it's a win for us, right? He thinks it's power for him when really it's more power for us. Basically, what we've got this person to do, one of the most intelligent, talented black people in the black community, we've convinced him to, first of all, we've been making money off him since birth through the public school system. We're going to make $250,000 off of him from going to college because he's going to have all this debt. We've now got a new soldier for white supremacy. We got him to come and work for our corporation. In the meantime, never once did we ever teach him anything about his people, the greatness of being black. We never taught him that, because that's his community's job. If they're not doing it and they don't give a shit about him, then why should we? We never taught him about anything good about being black or Africa or any of that. We have also trained him. We have not at any point trained him on how to buy stock to become an owner in this country. We've never taught him how to buy real estate so he can actually own real estate, buildings, and how in commercial property, whatever the case may be. We've never taught him how to start his own business so that he can actually work for himself instead of working for us. And also he's in debt for life because he's got the student loans. So he leaves and he goes out to the corporate plantation. He's working for a white guy, and he's hustling for the next 40 years to try to repay the $250,000 in student loan debt, which he never repays. And also the whole time we're slowly eroding his health, because every day he comes to work for us in our company, in our environment, with our culture, surrounded by us, controlled by our resources. He's consistently reminded every single day that we are the ones in power. Every day he's reminded that we control all of this shit, and you are nothing but a pawn. You have no power in this society. So then what happens is the Democratic Party, they want to get a piece of the whole too, right? They want to get sloppy seconds on the whole too. So they like, well, we want to get some. All the homies going to get some, so I want to get some too. So the Democratic Party shows up and says, oh, are you stressed out? Oh, are you unhappy? Or are you sad because your cousin got shot in the hood? Or are you sad because you live in the suburbs and your neighbors mistreat you because you got away from your own people? Are you sad because you go to work and they're not treating you right? Well, just vote for us and we're going to make it better. right? And then you say, well, but that doesn't seem to make it better because I voted for you the last 4 times in a row and it didn't make anything better. But they say, well, what are you going to do, you little hoe? You going to go work? Are you going to go work for Trump? You going to go be a Republican? Like, what are you going to do? And so you're like, okay, well, I guess this is my only choice. So then you also put money in the pockets of the Democratic Party, who pretty much have, about the level of respect for you that all the corporations have that use you. I mean, you get used by a lot of different entities. You get used by the political parties. You get used by the corporations that suck money out of your community. Again, it starts in the mind. They've trained you to be a consumer since you were a child. They've trained you to be a Democrat since you were a child. They trained you to love white Jesus since you were a child. They've trained you to want to go give all your money to white universities since you were a child. They've trained you to give all your resources to public schools since you were a child, right? You're not necessarily paying the public schools, but when those little black boys and black girls are showing up at school every day, they get paid whether you get educated or not. That's why they want you in those schools. They don't want you there because they love you. They want you there because you pay their bills. And then if you go another route, whether you go left, right, or center, someone's waiting there to milk black people, right? So if you go the other direction, you become a thug and you get into street life and they end up finding a reason to lock you up because, the Joe Biden crime bill pretty much gives them a lot of ways to do that. Then they're making money from you in the prisons. That's why these little small redneck towns, they hate black people. They love prisons. They want the prisons in their town. Well, why do they want the prisons in their town? Is because they want black people to be there so they can participate in the society as free, partnership, equitable partnership individuals. No, they want you there because if they have inmates there, they get more political power and they get more money. They get to make more money. So everybody's making money off of you because you and your children have been trained to be nothing but motherfucking little hoes. That's what you've been trained to do. And I hate saying it like that. It sounds mean when I say it, but God damn it, somebody's got to say it in a way that's honest and real. We basically relate to Cardi B because Cardi's a prostitute and so are you. That's just the honest to God truth. I mean, as a community, we are trained to be used up by everybody else. And just like a hoe that gets used up, you end up drained at the end. You're tired, you're angry, and you're so upset you don't even know who to really get mad at. Like you're like shadow boxing. It's like when I got a fly in my office and I'm like, where is that thing? And you look crazy because you're swinging at the air because you're just mad and you have a reason to be mad, but you don't even know who to be mad at. You're like, I know they got a scheme. I know they got a plan. That's why black people are so suspicious. We should be because everybody's running game on you, but you don't know the conspiracy. There is a conspiracy, but you don't know how it works. So you'll be thinking that there's like white supremacy on a box of cereal. There's the conspiracy. It's right there. That's how they got me. That's why I'm broke. That's why I'm struggling. That's why I'm on dope. That's why my daddy's in jail. That's why I don't have any power. That's why I hate my job. It's because of that box of cereal. Like it makes you crazy. Racism makes you crazy. And they literally are doing, what they're doing to us? It reminds me, you ever see that game they play on the street where they put a coin down and then they'll put it under a cup and you'll be trying to follow the cup and they say, guess which cup it's under? And they're moving real fast. And then it's never under the one that you thought that it was, right? That's how it feels to be black sometimes. And so what I really think is the smartest way to handle that, like if you're playing that game with the cups and the guy keeps winning every time because you can never figure out where the nickel is under the cup, the smart person is the one who says, I'm just not going to play this game with you. I don't know what you're doing. You're good at it. I don't understand it. So I'm going to a game that I'm not comfortable with, a game where I keep losing, where every single time we go into this fair game, every single time when everything's said and done and the dust settles, it's like 145-3. Like you win every single time. So if you're playing a game where the other opponent is winning every single time, that usually means that they're cheating. That usually means that they're playing you. It can't be a fair game if you lose it every damn time. So what I have told black people is, just like that guy with the cups, the smart person doesn't try to figure out the game. They don't say, well, this time I'm going to pick the right cup. That's what happens a lot of times when it comes to that's why I don't participate with the Democrat Republican stuff. Because people be like, I'm going to pick the right cup. This time we're going to elect another Democrat just like the last one. But this Democrat going to be different from the other Democrats. We going to hold this one accountable, right? So it's like you're playing that game and you're like, this time I'm going to pick the right cup. A smart person doesn't do that. A smart person says, you know what? Whatever this hustle is you got going on, you are really good at it. I can't figure it out. And I don't want to try to figure it out. So I'm just not going to play. I'm walking away. I'm going to take my dollar and I'm going to go somewhere else, and that's it. Or maybe I'm going to create a game, and I'm going to be the one moving the cup, and you can come play at my table after I figured out how to fool you. But I'm not playing at your table anymore. And I think that the idea of non-participation in a lot of these white supremacist systems is a pretty damn good idea. You know, you have no idea how much better my life got when I just decided I don't care how hard it is to make a dollar. I'm just not going to go work for white people anymore, because the stuff that they do don't make no sense to me. I can't figure it all out. And so in order for me not to hate you and to be mad at you, I'm going to get away from you. Right. You know, and so I believe at the end of the day, if you want to know what I believe, I'm not just going to tell you what I'm against. I'm going to tell you what I'm for. I believe in basic ideas. Black people, you need to educate your own damn kids. Stop handing your children over to people who don't want what's best for them. That's it, point blank, period. Listen to Malcolm X. He told you only a fool will let his enemy educate his children. Stop letting other people educate your kids. I don't care how much you love the public school system or the teachers' unions and all these other. No, do it your damn self. Take care of your own damn kids. 2, we need to create our own jobs. That's it. We need a whole generation of people that are going to build institutions that will create jobs. They destroyed your institutions. You got to rebuild them. 3, you got to support your own businesses. If you support Black businesses and reallocate even a percentage of that $1 trillion a year that you give away to white people, that will elevate your community more than reparations ever could. You know, I don't hold out a lot of hope that reparations is going to be paid. Kamala Harris won't even say the word reparations. Barack Obama would not even say the word reparations. Barack Obama got angry at Julianne Malveaux for even asking about reparations. So if you waiting on reparations, that's like you waiting on Jesus to come back, as far as I'm concerned. Jesus might come back, but I'm not going to be waiting for it. It's just going to have to catch me by surprise, right? So that's what I think. That's what I think. I mean, you know, what I did with you guys just now was I literally broke down. I thought about this extensively. I said, God damn, how do we end up becoming slaves? How does that happen? What is the process? What happens to us from the time we're born to the time we die that seems to set up a scenario where every damn time we always lose the damn game? As a community, we're losing. We always lose. No matter who we vote for, we lose. No matter which companies we support, we lose. No matter how many of us go to college, we lose. You know, and I figured it out. I said, oh, I get it. We're going to college, and the thing that we think is going to help us win is causing us to lose. It doesn't mean going to college is a terrible thing. I want to make that clear. I'm a college professor, so I'm not anti-college. But I'm sending a 17-year-old to college this year because his mother's a college professor. She wants him to go to college. But we're really keeping an eye on how this college thing is going to affect long-term wealth potential. If we know those student loans can't be knocked out in 5 to 10 years easily, we're not doing that. We're going to go another route. Or if we go get that college degree, oh, you can bet your ass we talking about also studying how to start a business. So you ain't got to go beg somebody for a damn job and humiliate yourself just so somebody can help you feed your family. You know, seriously, I mean, you know, and also you could bet your ass that we educate those kids. We tell them whether or not what they learned in school was bullshit. We say, look, go to school, learn what you're going to learn. When you come back, I'm going to tell you the real deal. They may believe it. Some of them they may not believe it. Some things require a certain amount of life experience for them to truly understand. But they hear me down here talking to you every single day. And that's where their education is going to come from. It's not going to come from the white guy down the street. No disrespect. If you're white and you're watching, I don't hate you. In fact, I'm an asset to you because I'm not a person who's going to be sitting up underneath you, begging you for things and then get mad at you when you don't deliver what I'm looking for. It's okay. I believe in independent Black men. I believe in independent Black women. I believe that we can do anything on our own that they claim they can do for us. Anything they can do, we can do better. We are the original man. We are the ones who survived those terrible slave dungeons for weeks at a time, being, you know, starved of food and water, having to live in your own feces. We're the ones who survived the Middle Passage, where almost half of the slaves died on the way over. We're the ones who survived 250 years of the most brutal slavery in the history of all mankind. We're the ones who survived 100 years of Jim Crow. We're the ones who survived 40 years of mass incarceration, still came out shining, right? We survived all of that. So you can't tell me that I need you for shit. I don't need you for nothing. I don't, don't get me wrong. I will sit with you. I will talk to you. I'm not threatened with a conversation with you. I'm not. If Biden called and wanted to have a conversation, I would have a conversation with his old senile ass. If Trump wanted to call and have a conversation with me, I would have a conversation with Trump. And what I would say to a Trump, if Trump says, hey, Dr. Boyce, I'd like to really do something for the black community, I would say, okay, show me the money. Write a check for 100 million, no strings attached, that allow me to go out and educate these children on economics and all the things that I know that they need to know, and nobody bothers me, then I will tell the community what you did. I would do that. I would have a meeting with him. I would meet with, because I'm not a scared Negro who says, well, I'm not even going to talk to this person because I'm so committed to that person. Why are you in love with Joe Biden? He ain't in love with you. Why are you walking around like he's your damn boyfriend or something? He don't care about you. He cares about getting your vote. That's it. And that, if you go listen to his rhetoric 25 years ago, that man was talking about black people like you were the scum of the damn earth. And the fact that you think that he is your best bet for freedom makes me feel sorry for you. It makes me believe that you need to listen to people like myself and Dr. Claude Anderson a little bit more, because we need to do therapy on you. It ain't even about, all the other stuff, the politics and the economics. You can vote for whoever you want. We need to do therapy on you because you need to regain your self-esteem. You need to regain your belief in yourself. You need to regain confidence that you can do things on your own, because a lot of times the reason that you buy cheap false hope, the reason that you will give real money to obtain cheap false hope and the high that comes with it, is because you are an addict. You are addicted to white supremacy. You are so devoid of any hope in your own possibility that you'll take anything. You are like the poor little girl on the corner with extremely low self-esteem, who doesn't have a nickel in her pocket, who falls in love with any man who comes along and buys her a goddamn grilled cheese sandwich. Like, seriously, that's what pimps look for. Pimps don't look for women with high self-esteem, who have big goals and dreams, who are empowered, who are supported by a community of people that love them, who are well protected. Pimps look for the little girl who feels like she has no other options and that she's going to be happy with anything he offers her. So at the end of the day, Joe Biden is not your president. He is your motherfucking pimp. And I'm sorry, I'm not telling you who not to vote for. Go vote. If you hate Trump that much and you really want to do it, just know I'm not going to judge you for it. But just know you need help, because he's not going to be your fucking solution. But then again, maybe you get that. Maybe you're not looking for him to be the solution. Well, then what is? Find a damn solution, and then we can have a conversation, because I don't have time to do the same thing that I've been asked to do for the last 25, 30 years that I have seen not work over and over and over again. I need something different. I need some solutions. I need us to pick up and move forward and get something done. That's all I have time for, period. Okay, guys. So thank you for listening. I'm going to go. Please have a good day. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Please hit the thumbs up button right now if you haven't done it. Also, subscribe to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. And last but not least, if you want to learn more about investing for free and learn about your first share of stock, you can go to allblackeconomics.com. That's allblackeconomics.com. You can get a free copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. That's a manifesto that lays out how I think and what I believe, and it's totally free. You can pick it up, allblackeconomics.com. And one more thing I forgot to mention is Thursday night, we're doing Black Movie Night. Black Movie Night, we're supporting black filmmakers because we are building a black movie industry. We're getting it done, and we're going to keep getting it done on an even bigger level. So we'd love to have your help. You don't have to pay any money. We just want you to pay attention to your own. So Black Movie Night is free. It's Thursday night, 8 p.m. You can register at blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. And sorry for all the cussing, but I'm really lying if I apologize, because I'm probably going to do it again. So y'all take care. Talk to you soon. Peace.